Hey, I'm Jason DeMarco, and you're watching a Toonami Faithful exclusive. Don't
right.
All right, welcome to this Toonami Faithful exclusive. My name is Paul Pascrillo, and I'm the founder of ToonamiFaithful.com. And I have the pleasure of interviewing Steve Bloom today. How are you, sir?
I am fine. Thank you. Very happy to be here.
Thank you. I actually flew from Rochester to see you, so.
Wow. I walked from LA because that's how dedicated I am, dude.
Damn. Okay.
No, thank you for that. I didn't realize that.
Well, I appreciate you doing the interview with
benefit.
us.
My pleasure.
My first question is this was your first time in Atlanta. How was your experience, and how was actually your experience at William Street?
It was really great going to William Street. It's kind of surreal because it felt sort of like coming home for the first time. Just having that relationship with these guys over the phone for so many years, they're like family to me. And meeting some of them for the first time in person was just weird. It was a little off-putting, and seeing all the Toonami love all over the building, and some of the old shows that I used to do. They've got this big statue from Big O there, and it was so weird. It was just a very surreal experience, but really, really cool to finally make it here. I've wanted to for many, many years.
And since you've been here, what has been like your best experience so far? Because this is your first time in Atlanta, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
You here right now. This is it.
Thank you.
This is it. I live moment to moment. I'm living in the present, so yeah. So far, this is the best.
That works for me. Hey, I'm fine with that. My other question that I have, and you guys feel free to chime in as well.
And you know, once I listened back to it, I thought, oh, I could have done better. I never judge my own work, but that was one of the things that I listened to it back. Oh man, I would have liked to do something different, but hopefully it was okay.
Yeah, we try to have a disclaimer before we play the song so that nobody has their girlfriend in the room, so you don't steal them away.
Yeah, it's not a problem.
We should maybe point out that there's an audience here. It's not just you two.
Yes, there is an audience here
Yes.
for the interview.
I was so sad when Spike died. I wrote a fanfic, and I was like 21 or like 23 when I wrote it, and it was just my own personal little, oh no.
Wow.
He's dead. I was very sad.
I just pulled my phone out of the ground.
Wow.
Okay, I have a funny question leading up to that. Hi, camera. I'm on camera now. So do you think Spike actually died, or does he just get back up and walk it off at the end there?
He shakes it off. It's all good.
All right.
Yeah, I'm here.
Bye.
Right?
This is my cameo.
This is what we do on the podcast, so you should be not used to this by now.
He just pees on the guys on his way out.
It's just blood, whatever.
Yeah.
Just give me a cigarette, I'll be cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh wait, I have one more question. Where did you get your snazzy hat? I mean, it looks just like mine.
Now, see, that was worth the photobomb, right?
Yes, it was.
Yes, we're matching today. I don't
Yes.
remember which side the logo. Oh, it's over here, right?
Yeah.
Is it over here? Yes. Check out that logo if you can. See it? I'm flying the Toonami flag. Yes.
I'm just going to cover this up. Whatever. present my
No, I
what do
got
you
swag.
wanna
This
say?
is free. This is free. Free, baby. Free swag.
Actually, I believe you have this. So
Yeah. No, I got the Toonami guys give it to me.
Yeah.
Jason, thank you. Equal opportunity interspecies provider. So, yeah. I know that's going to
feel
come
like
back
we're
to
on
haunt
the
me.
podcast.
That's going to come back to haunt me.
Yes, it is.
So how much are these services?
You don't
For
know what you're
context,
asking.
Darrell just pulled out
You're
$100.
going to see some baboon ass in a minute, and you're not going to want to.
Where has this interview gone?
That's where they all seem to go, though, right? Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
that's
I'm
exactly
rather-
what happened last time we had you on the
Yeah, I've
podcast.
seen the podcast. I know.
How do you feel about the shows that are on Toonami right now? Is there any one show that that isn't on there that you'd like to see? And do you like the shows that are on there right now? Because I know you don't usually watch them because you are a busy man, obviously.
Yeah, I don't stay up that late.
So I mean, is there like one show that you like to see on there, and is there like a show that's on there right now that you're like, yes, I'm glad it's on there.
What, Bebop?
Right.
I'm always happy to see that. You know, I don't get a chance to watch shows very often, and I haven't seen most of my own work, and I haven't seen that much anime, honestly. I only saw Bebop end to end 2 years ago, and how long ago did we record that thing? So,
Right.
you know, I'm the wrong guy to ask that question. There are a couple shows that I would love to see on there. I'd love to see IGPX get back up on the air and get some love that it deserves. And I know it's not technically anime, but Megas XLR would be really cool to get that on the air, just because it is such a homage to anime and a anime love fest, really. So those are the two shows that, you know, from the top of my head, I'd love to see get back on there. But other than that, it's up to the fans. I mean, the fans have brought Toonami back, so I think they should have a little bit of say in what happens too.
Right. Now, speaking of Megas XLR, one of the things that is out there is, you know, there's this interest to try to bring it back or try to get it on, at least get it on DVD. I don't know if it's been on DVD at all yet. But,
It hasn't.
No, it hasn't. Yeah.
It is.
I want to watch it again.
But are you? So we have it on camera. Would you want to do another season of that?
Yes. Yeah. No, I'd sign up immediately. Yeah, I think all of us would. I haven't talked to David in a while, the guy who played Coop, David Deluise. But I would imagine he'd want to be on board too, and I know Wendy would. So, yeah, and the original team is pushing for it. They've been kind of doing Twitter blasts and stuff. And the guys over at Titmouse have been supporting that proposition. So I hope that happens again.
So do I.
I never count on anything happening, but if it does, I'm on board for sure. Yeah, I love that show. It's really fun.
I have another question. I'm going to make another question.
All right.
Cameo.
Hey, well, last year you did something cool. I'm actually looking at the footage right now of the Anime Fans Give Back charity for the Bebop episode that you guys did live. The whole cast came back together. What was it like to come back after so many years and read that on stage? I mean, this is, you know, atypical, I guess. Not a typical reading.
Well, it was more atypical than a lot of people think because we were never in the room at the same time when we were recording Bebop. So it was probably the first time we had all been together in a room reading a Bebop script together, ever. And so that alone was an interesting experience. I thought it was going to be a much more widely attended event just because of the nature of what it was. And I don't know what happened with promoting it, but like 20 people showed up. And it was still fine. We were really thrilled to be together and to do that. And we read Toys in the Attic, and it was incredible. It was just an incredible evening for all of us, I think. I would love to do that in the context of a convention or in some place where a lot of people get to see it. So, yeah, and I don't think it ever made it out to YouTube or anywhere else, right?
All right. It hasn't made it out to YouTube yet. It's coming, I promise.
Oh, it is?
Yes, we have it on video. It's. I just have to edit it together.
Oh, good.
We have a lot of. So this is a plug for Anime Fans Give Back. Hi, Zach. Anime Fans Give Back is the charity we did. The One Piece COD podcast crew guys did last year, and Zach unfortunately had to stop doing the videos. I'm doing them now, and they should be up on YouTube pretty soon. We're rolling down the list. We promise it's coming.
Oh, great. Well, maybe we can make another charity event out of it and generate some more dollars, too.
And speaking of charity, anyone you want to plug?
Oh, there's so many. Well, that's one. I'm always doing stuff for Red Cross, and actually right now, one that's very near and dear to my heart. It's not a charity per se, but one of my buddies and a great voice actor in his own right is Jerry Gelb, who was Shadkins in the Cowboy Bebop movie. He was the guy who was sneezing, and he's in Witch Hunter Rob, and he's done a whole bunch of stuff. I've worked with Jerry for years, and he's one of my best friends, and he needs a spinal surgery. He badly needs a spinal surgery. And so we kind of set up a campaign for him online. Lex Lang, who's another great voice actor and a great friend, set up a campaign. It's online, so if you're on my Twitter feed or my Facebook page, go there and there are links to it. And I think it's called You Care, or something like that. You Care, or something like that. I should know this. I'm sorry. but it's on. The link is there on my Facebook and on my Twitter, and we're trying to raise $50,000 to get Jerry through this surgery, and it's potentially a life-saving surgery. So we take care of our own. So that one is.
We'll be sure to put a link at the bottom of the video.
Thank
on
you.
YouTube.
That'd be great. Thank you. I appreciate that.
I am cameoing again. Now, a lot of voice. Yes, over your shoulder.
That's kind of sexy.
Anyways.
I'm scared now.
Yes,
You know
it
that's
should
going to
be.
become a thing.
I know. It's going to become a.
Now he got a little language.
Oh, yeah.
Help me,
See-
please.
This was supposed to be a serious question, I swear. A lot of your voice actor brethren have gone on to do voice direction. Have you ever considered have you ever done it before, or have you wanted to do it maybe? I don't know if you've ever done it.
I was asked several times to do voice direction, particularly in the anime community, and I never did it because at that time I didn't have time. I was actually writing for a few shows, and when you take on a directing gig, it does absorb a lot of time, and there's a lot of research involved, and you're kind of stuck in one place. And now I'm just too busy to even consider doing that. So the other thing that doesn't really attract me about it too much is that when you're directing actors who are in most cases your friends, you learn a lot about them that you may not want to know. So for that reason alone, I'd much rather just stay, in the sandbox with my buddies and not have to be telling them what to do. It just feels better to me. So I'll leave that to the professionals. It's okay.
Cool. And that was a serious question that I asked over Paul's shoulder. That didn't really work that well, but thank you for giving me a serious answer.
We'll meet up later, Jose.
That will happen.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on with us. I appreciate it, sir.
Thank you for having me here.
And if you want to plug your stuff for us so that everybody knows, future cons that you're coming up to, your website and everything.
I know. What am I doing? I'm doing one in Tucson in 2 weeks. I don't remember what it is. Oh my God. Hang on. We can cut this right. Okay, so next up, I'll be in Tucson, Arizona at Konichiwa on March 22nd to the 24th, so come on out. And then Transformers Prime is coming back for season 3 with some beast action, which I believe is happening.
Which Darrell likes.
Yeah, which I believe is happening also on the 22nd. That's airing on the 22nd. Rescue Bots is continuing. Transformers Rescue Bots for the little guys. I am on Ben 10, the new incarnation of Ben 10, back as Vilgax and possibly other characters. I'm not sure what they've shown so far, so I won't spoil anything.
Please don't. We don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah. Okay. And then I'll be guest starring on Doc McStuffins, the kids show, as singing kangaroos and other characters in the near future, which is really a departure for me. That's going to be really fun. And then tons of games that are upcoming that I'm not sure if I can talk about. And, of course, Toonami. Toonami's back and stronger than ever, so tune in, bitches.
And where can they find you on Twitter and Facebook?
Facebook, just look me up under my name, Steve Blum, B-L-U-M, for those of you who are uninitiated. And on Twitter, @BloomSpew. It's B-L-U-M-S-P-E-W. And I'll see you there. And I also have a website, SteveBloomVoices.com. And that has links to everything, too. And all of my upcoming events and charity things and whatnot. So stop by.
All right. Well, stay tuned, guys. We have more exclusives coming for you. So just stay tuned to the website, ToonamiFaithful.com.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Toonami Faithful podcast. I'm off camera this time. Yay. But we have the Toonami staff here. Please introduce yourselves, everybody.
Hi, I'm Chris Hartley.
I'm Sarah Hardy.
I'm Jason DeMarco.
Neil Austin. Johnny Ray.
And we'd like to thank you once again for coming onto the panel and, of course, agreeing to this interview. The first thing we got to ask is, where's DBZ?
Where's DBZ?
No, I'm
Good.
kidding.
Yeah, on Nickelodeon.
Here's a real question. IGPX, as I pointed out last night, turns 10 this year. Looking back on it, what's the most proudest accomplishment from that series that you guys worked on?
Well, we all worked on it a good bit. I think of the people here, Sarah and I probably worked on it more than anybody. But I don't know. I'm really happy with the way the story wrapped up. I think I am happy that we maybe made the one anime where the main characters actually went through a progression and kissed, and like it wasn't just sexual tension or whatever for the entire series without any real, I felt like we really progressed those characters from point A to the end of the series. They really had a journey, and I'm proud of the way we were able to, and I'm proud that we worked with literally the best animation studio in the world and put something on television that at the time was the most beautiful show on TV, and it wasn't some fake anime. It wasn't made in Korea. It was production IG, the best in the business. So we were happy about all that. And Sarah, I don't know if you want to add anything.
Yeah, it was, I kind of echoing what he said. It was just such a beautiful show, and it was really neat to have something that was one of our originals that we, from
the beginning of it, like we're have our hands in. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. I can't believe it's been 10 years. That's bonkers.
Yeah. I did the math.
It's legit.
It'll be officially 10 in September. Now, how did IGPX actually get started with the Backdoor pilot? How did you guys approach the network or E-Train, who animated it?
That actually was the friendship we had with Production IG that started that through Kenny Adomi at Bandai, because over the years doing the Gundam series and various shows and Gundam commercials, we worked. Gil and I especially worked a lot with Kenny Adomi, and he introduced us to Production IG and Ishikawa and a lot of the people there. So we got to know them really well, and they kind of put us in touch with the B Street, the people that did the micro series. And it was actually sort of we knew we wanted to do a micro series, but Sean, that was actually driven by Sean, I think. I mean, he wanted us to do something different, not another Tom thing, because A, that was ridiculously expensive, and B, we had done that 3 years in a row, so we kind of wanted to, I very much was in support of us trying to start our own thing, and so we did that micro series, which was really well received, and the network kind of thought, okay, maybe there's something to this, and that led us to the various conversations with our companies to start redeveloping it as a series. So yeah, that's the genesis of how it happened.
Now, with your ventures in original anime such as Big O or IGPX, did that open the door for shows such as Thundercats to maybe become on the network? Were you guys involved with that? Did you suggest Studio 4C?
No, we didn't. We were not included in any of those discussions. I don't think that actually came from maybe Sam Register at Warner Brothers. I mean, there were always people who were talking about Thundercats. That's just one of those properties. I mean, that's why Sarah loves it. It's like, it's one of those shows that people just talk about. It's like Voltron. It's a show that's just always something people are talking about, a new version. And I don't know the story of how Thundercats ended up on Cartoon Network. I know the story of how it ended up on Toonami, which is Gil and I going, that's lying over there. What are you doing with that? You not do anything with? Can we have that? You're not using it. Give it to us.
Well, if any of these shows were to come back, your Symbionic Titans, your Thundercats, they would not be on Cartoon Network anymore?
No, that's not true.
Yeah, I would think that they probably
they weren't written off.
would be.
Yeah. When the
But just not at the same time.
I mean, Megas and IGPX were write-offs, but Thundercats and Symbionic, to my knowledge, have not been written off, which is why we could show them. So if they ever were to come back,
Yeah, they just weren't renewed for another.
they just weren't renewed, but Cartoon Network owns the rights. So if anyone's going to bring it back, it'd be Cartoon Network, which is why we always tell people, talk to Cartoon Network. They have ears. People vote with their eyeballs. Get your friends to watch, and then get your friends to bug Cartoon Network.
So
anything's possible.
So assuming it were to come back, what would you say the timeline is for, because I know you guys can't cross stuff over, like how many maybe months in between a Cartoon Network airing to Toonami airing?
I have no idea. I have no idea how that would work. I mean, if it did come back, it might come back just premiering on Adult Swim. I don't know. Gendy's moved on to other things, so I think it would be sort of a pretty monumental effort, bring the band back together kind of thing, and I think the least of the big decisions to be made would be whether it was Cartoon or Adult Swim. I think that there are way bigger decisions like, our whole crew has moved on to other things. What the hell are we going to do? That kind of thing.
Now, what is your, around the table, what is your most proud accomplishment that you've done on Toonami? That maybe a music video you've worked on or something you produced?
Start with Johnny.
Oh, wait, don't start with me.
Start with Chris. Yeah.
Ladies first, right?
Chris, just so you guys know, Chris is the brain. Like, nothing gets done at Toonami unless Chris tells us, hey, dummy, remember when you said you would do that thing? You have to do that thing. She works out budgets. She works out the schedule. She sends stuff to the legal department. She works with our S&P. She makes sure Gil and I are on track. She talks to Sarah, makes sure she's doing okay. Like, she's sort of running the whole operation. So, she has never gotten much time to be, you know, she's not a very public person, so she hasn't gotten much time to be sort of at the front of this, but you guys should just know that Chris is the nerve center of the whole deal. So, what is your, do you have a memory? Chris is also the newest member of the team.
I guess it would be, I mean, I remember the email that I got from Gil saying, hey, we got this little surprise thing coming up, don't tell anybody, but you're gonna be part of Toonami, or, you know, it was for the April Fool's thing that we did. That was pretty great. And then I think having less than a month to launch Toonami was pretty ridiculous. And so having that night go off without a hitch was pretty great.
I would say my proudest moment is pretty new because it would come with the response that has kind of come with this latest music video that I cut. That was the first thing that I've kind of created from scratch. And I don't know, I guess even with any other stuff I've cut, to see responses and that it meant something to people is kind of amazing, because I don't think I've ever, you know, in 11 years of editing, ever received any sort of actual response on anything I've ever cut that they were like, oh, we really enjoyed it. And so that's kind of awesome. It puts a face to all this hard work. It makes me get up in the morning.
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing this for a long time. I have many highlights and proud moments, you know. Right now I'm proud that we're on the air and that we're able to do new work every week, and I'm proud of everybody I'm working with, really, more than anything. That's where my pride comes in, because we are we've been working together for a long time. Used to live with that guy, you know, known her for years and years. This asshole I've known forever. It's just, you know, we're kind of a family, so I'm proud that we're able to still do what we're doing and care, even though we're not being paid for it. And I'm really proud of days like today where we hear from people how they feel about what we do, and we know we're making an impact, and that's we're all of us, I think, I speak for everyone, and say we're very grateful. So, Gil?
Yeah, I mean, I think pride-wise, I mean, the April Fool's Day stunt was definitely fun to see people's reaction sort of as that was going along, because there just wasn't really that, I mean, we got canceled, you just couldn't find that sort of instant feedback. Like, social media just didn't exist to that level when we were on, that we were immediately seeing what was happening. So that was definitely fun, and the fact that we made it on the air with duct tape and chewing gum, and have now been on for almost another year after that, so it's been fun. I mean, spots-wise, there's definitely ones over the years, but I mean, in terms of now, that's definitely the most proud.
All right, just kind of echoing what Sarah said, I guess, is the thing, like, because we're just editing stuff all the time and making these music videos and things, and you know, you never really know what's going to hit with people. You know, you're just working on stuff and you don't know what kind of impact it's going to have. Anybody's going to notice, anybody's going to watch it or anything. You know, you just kind of trucking along making it. But the one thing I did was that Dreams, Broken Promises music video, and that's the one I hear about more than not. And not even really until this came around again is when I started hearing about it, looking at YouTube and stuff people were saying and Tumblr things and whatever. Yeah, I guess that would be my proudest, because people did respond to that and they liked it. And yeah, you just never know what kind of impact you're gonna have on folks. And so like way after the fact, you're like, wow, people like that. That's cool. It's just, you know, nice to hear people like you. I just want to be liked.
The mics are fun, aren't they? Make you feel like a star. You guys? So, what are some shows that are totally inappropriate for Toonami, that could never air on Toonami, but you like anime-wise? Some shows that could never air, such as Slice of Life, or something that you just like.
Gantz. You know, that's cool. I like that show, but that's way too hardcore for we would have to chop it to ribbons. You know, Lane. I mean, Lane is one of my favorite shows of all time. I don't see Lane really making sense for Toonami. It's too slow and it's not an action show. It's a suspense. You know, I don't even know what you call Lane, but I think it's genius. things like that that I've enjoyed. I mean, shoot, I watched Hello Kitty with my daughter. Like when she was younger, we loved it, but it doesn't make sense for Toonami, you know. So there's not actually, we don't, you know, it's surprising. People ask us those kinds of questions all the time, but we don't actually spend that much time thinking about that stuff because we just know inherently what makes sense for Toonami and what doesn't. And there's so many shows out there that don't make sense that we're actually just more focused on what we think might make sense because that's what we might have to pony up and pay for or make promos with, you know. That's the eye that we're all looking at a show for, like, what could we do with that? And if it's not one of those kind of shows, then it's not even in a category like, oh, great show, too bad we can't put it on Toonami. It's just judged on its own merits, like you would judge Mad Men or Breaking Bad or any other show you're just interfacing with as a consumer. So that's not a very simple answer, but that's kind of how I feel. I don't know, Gil, if you have anything to
Yeah,
add.
I mean, Lane was what popped into my head just in terms of what we wouldn't really be able to, or what wouldn't really work. But I mean, there's just a lot of shows that wouldn't work, but that it's not the, oh, I wish we could put it on. That's just not really a thought process of wouldn't it be great, because it's just not in reality.
Yeah, and most people know. I mean, a slice of life show doesn't really work for Toonami. We're not about a slice of life. I think that's awesome that those exist, but that's not what we're here for. Mad Men, yeah, Mad Men would make a great Toonami show. They just need to have Don Draper, you know, kill some people. But yeah.
But Dead Man Wonderland was cool to see, because in the beginning everyone was saying that wasn't a Toonami show, and then by the end of its run, it was how can you have Toonami without Dead Man Wonderland? I mean, it was just sort of the
which is happening. Yeah, it's happened with every
how
show.
The shows go. This isn't. Oh, this is my favorite show. Don't ever take it off. Like it's just cool to see people
come around.
Yeah, feel like feel so passionately about Toonami, and then two, realize that it's not necessarily this show or this show, that it's bigger than that or smaller than that, however you want to look at it.
Yeah, we've seen it happen with every show. We've seen it happen with Samurai 7. We've seen it happen with Erica 7. We've seen it happen with Tenchi, even to a lesser degree, where at first it's like, oh man, and then it's like, oh, this is pretty good, and then by the end it's like, oh my god, it was amazing. You know, it's like, so I think that a lot of times people have to just like ease into a show before they really find out why we might have liked it. At least that's my hope.
Now, with the new Toonami, how do you guys try to combat nostalgia? Because you're at every turn you are combating nostalgia, because people are asking for shows like Dragon Ball Z and stuff like that. How do you guys, obviously with the Tumblr you deal with it there, but personally, how do you could we get the show or not really? Or you're just like, no, this is the new direction we want to go in.
I don't know I mean, personally, I wouldn't say that it's combating nostalgia necessarily. It's just dealing with the reality of, I mean, there are certain shows that we would like to have that we just can't work out. So it's really more combating people's feelings of why are you holding this back, when that's just not really, we're not sitting on all the money and giggling to ourselves and not getting these shows. Like it's just not the way it works. So it's
Sarah making it rain back there.
Yeah, it's so it's like people's perceptions of what we know you can do this. Why aren't you doing it? Like that's just we can't do it. So that's where we are. So I wouldn't say that we're combating nostalgia necessarily, because that was obviously a big part of why Toonami came back. But we're definitely trying to continue Toonami going and not have it be a backwards-looking entity.
Yeah, I mean, nostalgia has its function. It's a great, it's a beautiful pain is like one of the original definitions of the word, and it's like, it's a good thing. It definitely helped us and brought us back. It's also a bad thing because you can just drown in it, and that's all you want is we don't want to become a feedback loop of the same thing that we've done. You have to continue to push yourself to grow and do different things, or you're going to stagnate, and stagnation is the enemy of any creative endeavor, and we do take it seriously. If we didn't take it seriously, then we would just be like, just run that old just do something exactly like this. We're very choosy about, like the reruns thing. We were very choosy about redoing an old thing, and there was a particular thought process, which wouldn't it be hilarious to do a rerun of the reruns piece about reruns, but yeah, Gil's right. It's not that we're sitting around going, we can't be nostalgic. It's that a lot of the things people forget. The one thing people forget about Toonami, the great thing is they feel like they own it because it was part of their lives. It's part of their childhood. The bad thing is everybody's experience with it is totally different, and not everyone realizes that. So one person's favorite show was Yu Yu Hakusho, one person's favorite show was Dragon Ball Z. Those two people both might tell us we're idiots for not showing those two shows. So then if you imagine exponentially of the 50 or so shows we've shown, for every single one of those shows, there's a group of people who feel like Toonami's not Toonami without that show. And I think people just forget that Toonami was on so long, and it's got to be about more than the one show you watched, or else, you know, it's not really about anything. So.
Now, I have an interesting, not an interesting question. I have an interest in the.
I won't go out with you. Neither will Sarah.
And there goes the
There it went.
Johnny might.
I wanted to ask about the Past is Present music video, because you guys were pretty adamant on the Tumblr that Joe Boyd Vigil will not be returning on the blog, and I'm not asking if he's going to return.
Sure.
But did you guys just like stumble upon that box of tapes and were like, oh, hey, let's throw these in, and that just came about?
I don't know how that came about. Was that?
I think I just.
Here, do you hand it to Johnny?
I mean, it was one of those things like, well, we need a music video this week, and I don't know. It's like, do you think Jason would be down if I remember asking Gil if I just used a bunch of old tracks and kind of mashed them up a little bit? Like, we'll see. Try it out. It was that kind of thing, you know, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty adamant about not using too much of the old music. I like using the old music. We still own the old music, but it's part of that same thing. We can't just dive into the old music all the time, because then we're creating work that's got to be judged against the old work, and we want to create new work. So I'm a little, you know, I'm careful about, and both of the editors, we've talked multiple times about it. So when Johnny had an idea that he was like, I just want to use all the old stuff, it was sort of like, well, let's see how it turns out before we make any decisions. But Johnny's Johnny, so it was awesome. And then it was sort of a no-brainer. It was like, okay, here's a little actual throwback to our earlier days, but redone in a new way, and it came out awesome. I think. Great job.
Thank you. Yeah.
You're a hell of an editor.
No, I actually think that, you know, if you do throw back too much, you run the risk of like, oh, they're throwing back all the time, or
Yeah.
you know, then you have to set the expectation to an unreachable length or whatever. And I think you guys have been very good with handling like, oh, we did do this stuff, you know, very occasionally, like, oh, here's a callback.
Yeah.
Like the Dead Man Wonderland promo and the music video we just mentioned.
Yeah.
So I'd like to congratulate you on that, and you know, not for going back to what Toonami was and evolving with the times.
Thank you. Yeah, and I mean, you know, people talk to us all the time about stuff Johnny or Sarah have cut and how much it meant to them, and we're really glad, and we know that what we're doing is being judged against that stuff, which is why Sarah was talking about the pressure. She was, you know, wanting to just match the standard of what's come before, and you know, we take that very seriously.
And I think this is, I guess, our last question. Tom, sorry. Oh, go ahead.
Speaking of promos, actually, the one promo, the old promo that I hear that's requested all the time, and I see it on the Tumblr all the time, is that Dreams one, one with all the Y'all Lost Star and everything like that. Do you guys see like you doing something like that again? Because I've seen that you've pulled from some other speeches before. Do you think that you guys would try to do that one again? Because it is a very requested.
You mean remake that spot?
I would say remake. I wouldn't say like take the one that we've had before, because I think I don't know how that would work. But
Yeah, I mean, speaking solely for myself, I would say that like the reruns was really the only one that was the same script and obviously not the same clips, but like the sort of joke was doing that one again. I would think that would probably be the only one that we would really do that, other than like if we did some sort of montage retrospective of different things, but I don't think we would try to recreate or take that piece and make something else. I don't know if Johnny would feel differently. I mean, he cut that one, but also the fact that we don't have Outlaw Star would make it harder to.
Well, when you're making it, you're not thinking that like, oh, this is the one. This is gonna be the one that everybody's gonna love. You know, you hope everyone's like that, but you know, it's just you find a soundbite, you find a piece of music, you find a little thread, and it just kind of comes together. I mean, hopefully, we'll hit another one of those, and I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's making more new ones of those, like The Choice Is Yours and To Hell With Fear and all those kind of spots.
As far as people have expressed a desire to see one around a show, like, because that one really revolves around Outlaw Star. It just depends on the shows that we're working with and whether they have those resonant themes. The only show right now that we have on that I think could even be something like that would be Bebop. So I would say that if we were to attempt something like that, it would be with a show like Bebop that I think has so many resonant themes. So
Eureka. That's got a lot of, you get a lot of nice sound bites from there. It's inspirational kind of.
So it's possible. It's the kind of thing that we, again, approach with the utmost care, because there has to be these guys are somewhat doing this impressionistically, you know, but Gil and I will give them a general, sometimes direction or sometimes none. So they have to be allowed to sort of just make it into whatever they organically make it into, and like Johnny said, lightning strikes, and then sometimes it doesn't. And what I've found is when you try to force it, you always get dog. We don't want dog on Toonami. So yeah.
Just a quick question back about that promo, because it is such a special promo. It's so different from, I think, any of the other ones. You know, it's not voiced by Peter, it's not voiced by Steve, it's actually voiced by Bo Billings, say, of Jet and Cowboy Bebop fame. Why did you guys decide to do the promo that way? Why isn't Tom voicing it? Why isn't Peter voicing it, or whatever?
I mean, I think that was sort of a reaction to what Johnny cut, and then at that time we were doing Space is the Place and Pardon Our Dust, and like we were doing these music video type things that didn't have a clear voiceover, that weren't a speech, and it was sort of an evolution from the speeches that were, I think, and Sean, I remember being sort of wanting to move on from the speeches and feeling like they were a little too on the nose, and he really was excited about that piece and just those in general. He liked the idea of, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, he liked the idea of it not being as clear and obvious, and just sort of taking a journey through a music video sort of thing. And then Bo, that actually was around the same time as we were starting to record characters for promos, which was sort of a new thing I was pushing, so it was kind of all of that together, as I recall. I might be wrong.
Well, it's like, I think, you know, you come across a soundbite, like that whole monologue from Bebop, you know, and then that Outlaw Star theme of Gene Starlin scared to go into space, and it was just, those things just fit on their own, just like together. And so it's like, well, that's a little kind of a story, and then throw in some other little bits in there. So it's just like finding that thing and working it out. If it's there, you know. So I don't know if it was like a decision. It just kind of, I had these monologue and these sound bites. It's like, yeah, this works out well. And then, you know, just kind of happens.
It's like sculpting.
Yeah.
You know, you're just whittling it down until you have what it is.
Alrighty, so we have about a minute left on the camera, so if you guys want to give off your final thoughts of the convention, of Toonami in general, go ahead.
Keep watching.
It's been a lot of fun. Thanks for all your support.
Please keep watching, and thank you for coming to MomoCon. Thank you for watching this, and we're going to keep trying to kick ass.
Yeah, thanks for watching everything, and thanks for MomoCon having us, and everybody checking it out.
Yeah, we're glad to be back. Thanks to you guys.
Peace.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Toonami Faithful exclusive. We need to send a huge, huge, huge thank you to MomoCon. These guys have been amazing. This is Dan Carroll, media
Senior Director.
Liaison. Yes.
I am the Senior Director for Media Relations for MomoCon. Thank you for coming, Toonami Faithful.
That's much better than what I said. Media Liaison, I'm sorry.
Nami, go ahead.
We'd like to thank you guys so much. How did you guys originally get your start in the convention scene?
Well, MomoCon was an on-campus convention started by the Georgia Tech Anime Club, primarily through the hard work of Jess Merman, our co-founder. We started with 750 people 9 years ago. This year we're anticipating over 10,000 attendees, and we are happy that you have come here to document it for us. Thank you.
We're glad to be here. You guys have been amazingly supportive to our staff. This is the best con staff I've ever seen. Seriously. All of you out there who are pressed, you should come to this convention. The other thing I wanted to ask is, how difficult has it been to coordinate such a huge con like this? Because we've been walking around. It's, how long in advance do you guys have to prepare for that?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily call MomoCon a huge con. I like to think of it as a mid-sized, family-friendly con. Planning for MomoCon 2014 has already begun. I myself have a spreadsheet just for media relations to how we're going to handle it next year, what we're going to do, and questions I have for other directors to make sure that we work together. A couple of reasons we are as successful as we are is because a lot of our senior staff are either engineers or they're management graduates from Georgia Tech, so they've got an extensive process thinking. They have a systems orientation. One thing we do here at this con that I haven't seen at other cons that I love, we separate security from crowd control. Security is there to take care of problems, to take care of issues, to take care of those things that require security. Crowd control is working throughout the day to make sure everything runs smoothly. They have a completely different mindset than a security would have, and it's much more customer service friendly, and all of our volunteers are required to go through a very significant customer service training.
Now, I know it's a little early. I mean, this convention's not even over yet, but what are you looking forward to next year? Like, how are you going to top yourself next year?
Well, we have a historic growth of about 20-25% every year. So we're expecting a bigger convention. We're expecting, again, and I know that Toonami Faithful is all over the country, all over the world even, paying attention to your podcast. But what we're going to do is really focus on that Atlanta, that Georgia, that local flavor that gives us something different than other conventions in other parts of the country. And for those who don't know, Momo is a Japanese word for peach. It was named to honor its Georgia roots.
That's a cool fact.
You guys, yes, we are.
You guys in the back have any more questions?
No, I just want to say thank you for being so courteous and have.
Wait, I'm gonna do a Jose.
Okay. Everyone's gonna come in.
I'm coming over your shoulder.
Hi. We're so unprofessional, but whatever.
I want to grope you so much right now.
Oh, God.
This apparently is a very gropey podcast. I was not aware.
It's all just repressed sexual tension because we all haven't met before. Literally.
Yeah, this is the first time we're meeting in person.
And I got to say, for fans of the podcast, this is amazing that they're able to coordinate this using internet technology from around the country, from everywhere from Boston to Birmingham and points in between.
Miami for me.
And where are you? Rochester, representing.
Now,
that's like Kodak. Yeah, Kodak.
That's right.
We'd like to thank you so much again. It has been an amazing convention. We know you guys are going to love it. If you are not here next year, you are stupid. I'm sorry. You need to be here. Or broke. In which case, if you're broke, start a Kickstarter fund now and get over here. You need to be at this convention.
Thank you. And this indeed is a convention I've been associated with 1 year as a director. Prior to that, I'd covered it 2 years. I used to have my own radio program 2 years ago. I started covering MomoCon. I was so impressed with what I saw that when I was approached to work last year with them on a media plan, I was able to provide them some hints, some clues. And then this year, the opportunity came to join as senior staff. I was just so happy because I was so impressed with what was going on here. It's not easy. It's not hard for me to sell this convention because I love it before I was involved with it.
So again, you guys need to come down to Atlanta. They have the best staff here. I've been a part of a bunch of staffs myself. I've never seen a staff so well run and so well organized. And this is my first time being press. Like, this is a first for me. I'm usually on staff, and I know how chaotic it is.
Now I got a question for you.
Yes.
Can we cover one other thing? How much fun did you have this weekend?
Amazing amounts of fun.
Lots and lots of fun.
So it's not just really well run. It's a great place to spend a weekend.
I mean, we need to plug very quickly Little Karibo, all those guys. They have been amazing. Steve Bloom of the Toonami guys.
Jason DeMarco.
All of them, yes. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Say what you're going to say.
This is the first time I've actually stayed in Atlanta. What happened a number of years ago doesn't count. But yeah, that came out wrong.
What you trying to say?
This is Southern hospitality at its absolute finest. I mean, it's not just something they say. This actually does exist, and everybody here in Atlanta is just so wonderful and so courteous, and very much a far cry from the New England conventions I go to. And yeah, to echo what they said, the staff here is just so incredible.
By the way, this is what Jim looks like.
Yeah. Hi guys. How you doing?
Yeah, we just got to make that sure. For those of you that don't know who Jim is, he's the guy that does all the voiceover for Geeky. And the voiceover for the podcast, too.
Not all of it. Yeah. Jose does all the heavy lifting. I'm just the voice monkey.
So that's right, voice monkey.
What I want to say is I want to thank you guys for having us. Being the founder of ToonamiFaithful.com, having these guys translate what I wanted to see. You know, it's gratifying to have, you know, be able to have the Toonami thing here, be able to have the surprises that we got, be able to interview Steve and do everything that we did. I mean, it was just a great weekend, so I want to thank you.
Well,
hopefully you can have us back
you
next.
for talking about us, letting your viewership, listenership know about us. But also, I got to echo. I've worked many other conventions before. I'm absolutely blown away by the courtesy, the charm, and just the guests that we have had this weekend. Steve in particular has just been amazing to work with.
This was actually Steve's first time.
I'm gonna go off camera. Come to MomoCon 2014. Look for it, momocon.com.
We're going to go ahead and cut it off there. Thank you all for joining us. Deuces! More, as we always say, you really have seen nothing yet. See you later.
Peace.
Yo, this is Steve Bloom, the voice of Tom, and I endorse this message. Kadesh Flow and Richie Branson. Oh yeah. You better believe Toonami's back, bitches. Only Toonami. Bang.
As I gaze up on the beautiful abyss of outer space, I can't help but reminisce on how we held on to our faith. Gold is how we stayed till the day that time would say that Toonami's back, bitches. Pardon my Francais. Now every week the absolution blasts off while the masses watch as a no familiar mascot by the name of Tom takes a seat and kicks the broadcast off, making major moves like a triple cut backdrop. I still remember watching Epion doing damage and thinking, damn, is Goku